Hey everybody, welcome to the Daily Muddy. I'm Ashley Conrad. Well, a group of concerned parents gathered at the tower on Monday night. Now, when I gather at the tower, I want margaritas and chips and cheese. But these parents were here for serious business. They want to start a new school. That's right, a whole new school. Sounds like a lot of work, right? But when you're frustrated with how things are going in today's schools and you don't believe your kids are getting what they need out of it, you start looking for alternatives. Ron Kinscherf was at Monday's informational meeting on the Olmus Academy. So Ron, what's up?
Well, so basically during the pandemic, obviously a lot of parents had to homeschool their kids, okay? Or be there for Zoom type education that the schools are offering. So I think there's a lot of frustration born out of that with what was being presented to the kids, the type of curriculum.
Or lack thereof.
I don't know, lack thereof. I mean, there's a curriculum, but I don't know if it's the lack of curriculum, it's the type of curriculum that they're a little frustrated with. And I think a lot of it's born out of a frustration that the parents don't have as much control as they feel they should have in choosing that curriculum. So the Olmus Academy is a group of parents that have done a ton of research since August on the type of education they would like their kids to have, basically. So what they're focusing on is a three-pronged attack where it's the student, the teachers, and the parents. They want their parents to be as heavily involved as they can within the school. Now, they won't dictate the curriculum necessarily, but they will be involved in decisions that are made at the school. They want the parents to be at the school. They want them to be at the lunch. They want them to volunteer as often as they can to be a part of the school. So they're going to attack this with a classical educational model, which against what they feel is being taught right now, which is a more modern educational model. So the classical educational model goes back to the founding fathers, and it's basically trying to teach the kids how to teach themselves rather than have schools teach their kids a curriculum to meet standard testing. So something along those lines. So they want critical thinking, things along those lines for their kids. And again, I'm not an expert on what they're trying to achieve, but it was just an interesting take on where the educational system is and where some parents would like to see it go.
Right, absolutely. I mean, I think it's, if people are unhappy with the way things are going, you should definitely find alternatives.
Yeah, they're definitely taking action on what's going on. They're not going to be government funded. They don't want to have a religious affiliation or church affiliation. They're open to all race, all creed. And it's a three-pronged attack, and they're open to having mixed age kids within a class. So they'll divide them like kindergarten to third, and then what their thoughts are that the older kids will pull the younger kids along. So if a third grader is able to do something, the first grader will say, hey, I want to be like Sam or Sally, and I want to be able to achieve what that person is achieving. So it's kind of, I don't want to say old school, I hate to say old school, but it's
just different.
It's a different approach to educating a child. And again, they feel the parents do not have as much say in the curriculum as right now. One of the interesting things they brought up was is a version of the truth, and they feel that there's a subjective truth being taught at the schools right now, where if you feel a certain way, that is your truth, rather than it actually being the truth and you have feelings about that truth. So they want to focus on the objective truth, and then how you feel about that truth.
Focus on some facts.
Rather than the subjectiveness of creating your own, because I feel this way, that is true. So that was a big emphasis of the discussion I had with them last night. So
what would you say was the kind of the overall vibe of the room, and was there good attendance? I mean, was there
the room was, I don't know what they were expecting. I can't honestly say that, but the tables were full. There's 50 to 60 people there, and the question answer, these people were really prepared.
Yeah.
I was impressed with that, the preparation, and they answered all the questions as best they can.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not, in my opinion, it's not a finished product. I mean, they
Sure.
do know they have more work to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they don't have brick and mortar right now. They're looking for that. They have some ideas on teachers. They kind of know, but they also want to hire some people to help develop the curriculum so they can get to that point. And one of the battles they're going to have is finding teachers and what they're going to do about benefits.
Yeah.
And they know that. I mean, they know all these challenges.
So it'll be funded by parents or by
they will will charge tuition,
enrollment. Okay.
And it will be $2,500 to $4,500 depending on where the age of the child.
Okay.
They're hoping to get some donations and
Sure.
things like that. But it will be a self-funded because they don't want to be
influenced
by outside
Sure.
sources. So they have a specific type of curriculum they want to teach, and it is the classical vision where they're going to start with the Renaissance, the Reformation before that, and work their way through and try to develop thinking skills or learning skills, so the kids after they're out of the school can continue to learn on their own.
Right.
Again, versus what they feel the public schools or parochial schools are doing is teaching a curriculum to prepare them to take a test.
Right. I mean, I think, having kids myself and having, we went through some struggles, and I mentioned lack of curriculum because some of the instructors I know during, the COVID homeschooling, there just wasn't any schooling. So it was just kind of you're on your own type thing. And then on top of that, when they went back, it seemed like there were a lot of political objectives being pushed versus, actual parental concerns being addressed. And I mean, it was very strange. So I'm a full supporter of public and private schools, but I'm also in full support of bringing in alternatives for people who aren't happy with what they're getting. Did you hear any interesting questions that stood out in your mind that maybe brought to the forefront something that maybe
nothing out of the ordinary? I mean, there's questions about tuition and transportation. Parents will have to provide their child with transportation initially, and there was no lunch program, so to speak. So they're going to have to provide their own lunch. One of the interesting things is they're open to a hybrid model. And I don't know how, and again, this is one of the challenges they're going to have, where you can send your child to the academy for a few classes and then transport them to another school for the rest of the day. So again, they'll have to have some, obviously, cooperation with the other schools that they partner with in order to pull that off. But that's an interesting concept. So you could go to the Ole Miss Academy for English and, let's say, history, and then go for the sciences someplace else. Or if you're into music or things along those lines. That was interesting. Class sizes was brought up, obviously. And they want to keep class sizes around 15 to 20. So outside of that, I mean, there wasn't any questions that were out of this world or not on topic. There's a lot of talk about the founding fathers and how intelligent they were, and getting back to how they felt education should go. And I brought up, the founding fathers were great and did develop this great country, but they also had slaves, and women can vote. And I brought that up, and they said, and their answer was, we all have made mistakes. And part of what we're going to teach our kids is that, yes, the founding fathers created the government that we have now, the greatest country in the world, but they also had their faults. So let's learn from their faults, and let's develop our children to be leaders going forward, so they can fix some of the things that are going on right now.
Identify them too.
Identify them, yeah.
For sure. That's awesome. Well, I think critical thinking skills are definitely something we can all use.
And again, I have to commend them for taking a risk.
For sure.
And
is it all local parents?
So that's another thing too, that it is a local group, and I asked if there's a national organization that does this type of thing, if Ole Miss is a part of, if there's an Ole Miss in Missouri, and and there isn't. Most of the classical educational facilities or academies in the country right now are affiliated with a religion or a church. So that makes this difference. They do not want to have any doctrine involved outside of the curriculum that they're going to be teaching to the kids. So that makes this unique. So again, it's 9 parents on the board, and they took it upon themselves to do the research, and they're prepared. I mean, they were prepared for last night. That's awesome. They had a good answer. And sometimes the answer is we don't know how we're going to get there, but we will get there.
Still a good answer.
Like the brick and mortar situation,
Yeah.
they need a lot of money in order to have a school.
Right.
But they're looking for locations right now, and they brought up it being a pod type area where, first through fifth may be one place.
Sure.
Yeah. So again, there's a lot of unanswered questions right now, but
sounds like they have a plan and an idea. I mean,
and one of the
no, you're fine.
One of the keys though is that whether people want to do this.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's not enough interest from parents or or grandparents and guardians, it's not going to fly.
Flat, yeah.
But again, there was 50, 60 people there last night. And
do you know how many they want to have to like kick it off for do like a pilot program or how?
I don't know. I have to be honest with you there. And again, I tell her, but I'm not an expert on this at all. But
for sure. No.
I spent 2 hours with them, but that was not brought up. But they do want to get started this fall with something.
Okay. Cool. Well, it'll be interesting to see how it shapes out.
It was. I saw the post on Facebook. I was just really curious.
Yeah, I wanted to go last night.
And it was. I got to give them credit. They were prepared, and they put a lot of work into this.
That's awesome. And it doesn't seem like that long ago since I graduated, and things seem to be okay. But it feels like curriculum and changes, and even the kids at school and teachers, it's happening very, very quickly. I mean, at QHS, I was pleased, and maybe I was blind to some things, but I don't know how QND was. But it was, it seemed like things were relatively normal in any sense of the word that you could do. Government control may have had some things to do with it, but it wasn't overwhelming, and I don't think there was a need for this type of alternative, but maybe I just wasn't privy to it.
I went to high school, everything was black and white.
Yeah.
So that's how long ago it was. So, my kids have long gotten out of college, and I've got grandkids now, so I do have some concern on what they're going to face.
Sure.
Are robots going to teach? Who knows what schools are going to be like by the time my grandkids get to school. So.
Yeah. I'm glad to hear that people are thinking outside of the box.
Yeah.
So it's nice to, it's kind of, a breath of fresh air to know that people are actually paying attention to some things and not just, going with status quo and doing it because that's how we've done it.
Yeah, it was good to see a group of parents that love their kids.
Dedicated
to this situation.
Sure. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, it'll be awesome to see how things unfold.
Yeah.
I wish them the best, and hopefully we can get some more information on it. But something tells me this isn't the last we're going to hear about it. So.
Well, I believe one of the co-chairs will be with you next week.
Okay. Well, excellent.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, thanks for chatting with me.
No
Ron.
problem.
Appreciate it. So we'll have some more on this as we get more information. But as Ron said, we have someone joining us next week to give us a little more information on it. But stay tuned, and we'll have some closing thoughts on this. A great night's sleep starts at Harvey's Furniture. Harvey's is your home for industry-leading handcrafted mattresses from Bemco, Spring Air, and Chatham & Wells. Twin, full, queen, and king, we have a full selection of in-stock mattresses to fit your needs. No waiting, get it today, and as always, free delivery. You deserve a better night's sleep. Harvey's Furniture, our home, your home.
Instant Replay is your local sports bar. With 18 big screen TVs, we have all the sports packages from college games to pro games. We offer daily drink specials, and come check out the Bullpen, our newly renovated beer garden. Instant Replay, 2739 Chestnut in Quincy.
Welcome back. So how did we get to this point where enough parents are so fed up that they want to band together to start an entirely new school? Well, when school boards don't listen, and when government funding and political objectives mean more than parent and community concerns, maybe it's time. One case, let's talk furries. That's right, it's not a new thing, but apparently it could be making its way into our area. A furry is someone or something that doesn't identify as a boy or a girl. They identify as an animal, like a cat in some cases. Now, I'm all for inclusion, but come on. We have to be living in some kind of upside down or something, right? You can be absolutely anything you want to be in life. A cat? What are schools going to do to accommodate these furries? And should they? Are we going to put litter boxes in bathrooms? Well, if we do, I feel sorry for the janitor who has to clean those. Some schools don't even allow costumes on Halloween, but we're going to allow this? Wow. Boys and girls using the same bathroom was the last straw for many parents, but now we have to worry about our kids sharing a bathroom with Garfield. I really just can't with all of this. It's nonsense. Where are we going to draw the line, folks? Anyway, I'm sure we haven't heard the last about this, but for now, I'm going to hope it's just a bad dream. Tomorrow, I'm on the road to Lorraine with Brittany Bull for our first Summer Sips Roadshow. Stay tuned. Thank you for watching.